DC here. Hi guys. Well, another update and a bit of a vlog. What's going on? Where have I been? Why am I not around? And so on. Well, this has been one of those summers where we've had a few visitors, different things going on, vacation. You've seen a lot of the visit vids with Irene, either on her channel as tweetnes or on my own. And this weekend we had the chance to have one of my cousins come over from Canada. Interesting visit because we had not seen each other. Let me see, it had been 8 years since we'd seen each other, but to have really had time together, it had been something like, oh my goodness, 25, 30 years. Yeah, that long. Where we really had time to say that we were hours together and we could talk. She was there with her husband and they were touring Europe for their 30th wedding anniversary. Yes, they married the same year as us. She actually caught the bouquet and he caught the garter. So you see how funny it is sometimes. I mean, at our wedding. Okay, today a little bit of chat about. I was walking along earlier and thinking about how that came on. I guess it's probably my situation, but what was it like when you were on the Titanic? You know, and instant coffee. Now, what was it like when you were on the Titanic? And I was thinking of, you know, it must have been, it was really an analogy to the journey of life. It must have been really exhilarating. You know, all the wind in the air, the breeze. You're the first on this type of vessel. It's the same with our life. We're the first and the only ones actually that are going to be going through our life. But at the same time, moments of anxiety, moments of fear, moments probably of jealousy, envy, blank panic, and finally, well, final at least for most people, moment of death, and for a few, yeah, they were saved to die later on, mind you. And I was going on, at least in my head, about you know how it is sometimes these days. When the Titanic was in the high seas and hit or brushed, or I don't know what really happened finally, that iceberg, it was probably like, okay, no panic, we just brushed something. And of course somebody knew what was happening. And then there was a moment of realization. The ship is sinking. And there was two ways of acting to that. I mean, there was a blank fear, of course. That was probably even more, I guess, than two. But I mean, I can think of blank fear, and then probably denial, action. Yeah, there's one too. And I'd say also resignation. Resignation. And when you're going through times of life, I think you have all of them. I've been thinking like when you're searching for a career and so on, you go through moments where all of a sudden, like if you were on the Titanic, all of a sudden you realize that, oh, wait a minute, is the ship starting to lift? Is that the beginning of, you know, of the end? And that's an important, a very crucial moment. How do you react then? I mean, on the Titanic, of course, we see the movie, and supposedly that's true, that they were singing, you know, religious hymns and trying to keep them up. But you know, as even in the Bible says, even, you know, it rains even on the just. I mean, everybody will perish. It doesn't mean, you know, that's a safeguard that you will not go through suffering. No, so I mean, the thing is that when I'm thinking about that, on our voyage of life, on our own voyage on the Titanic at times, is that there's that looking within. There's that looking within yourself. That brings out, you know, where is the difference between panic, fear, the resignation, and action. And I think is that also maybe one thing that I did forget was probably acceptance. Because there will be a point when I mean, there were some people that were on the boats, some were on the little ships. I mean, the escape route. Some were there because they merited to be there. Some were there because they, you know, got in dishonestly. But one thing is that when you've done everything you can, there's not only there's a difference between resignation and acceptance. And I think here, that's slowly where I'm getting also on my own path, is that sometimes you go through up, downs, highs, and then you say, well, I don't want to resign. I can accept things that are happening, but I'm moving on. And of course, sometimes there'll be an inevitable end. An inevitable end, though, doesn't mean a complete, total end. Why am I bringing all this up? Well, as you can see, I mean, that's probably, I'm going through some of these lows and highs right now. Acceptances, refusals, different things that are happening. But the main thing that I'm trying to do right now is look within, look above, but, you know, look with my own eyes. And I've been blessed this summer with time with family, time with friends, and it you know, it's charged my batteries, but they're not fully charged yet. And you know, sometimes you got to give yourself that little jump start. I've been feeling it, like, for example, that I've not had time, and sometimes not even had the desire to make vids, to go on YouTube. And at the same time, it's funny how it is, like, 'cause when you want to be with people, when you love people, you feel bad if you let them go a bit. It's a little bit where I am also right now, you know, like I'm giving myself a kick in that rear sometimes to move on. Like, just for example, this vid, I said, you know, I've been thinking about it, do it. Now, I'm going to be off today for one of these networking conferences where I'm going to try and meet different people of different parts of business, and just get to know people. And it's an interesting thing, but it's also hard work. You know, it puts you in front of certain self-evidences, you know, that things have to change. And very often that's, once again, I would say, Titanic effect. Things are going to change. And how do you react to the change? How do I react to the change? And I know I'm thinking about myself. I think there's a lot of people have a lot to say here. I like to listen to Rob, Dogwalkingtall. Sometimes, I mean, we have sometimes completely opposite views, sometimes much closer than it might appear at first hand. But he has a lot of little wisdom and little tips and tricks. Another guy also who throws in a lot of little bits of wisdom is my good friend, Blue Flamingo. He is another one. And I'll tell you, if you want to talk to a guy who has a lot of wisdom as well, go listen to James with Melissa, of course. Those two are very good. That's just for YouTube. There's others, saying. Sorry if I maybe didn't mention all of you. I see the time again. I just can't seem to get the vids under that time. So, Titanic, no. Look within. DC's going to be signing off. And I'll add another little vid probably as well. Take care, guys.